Hello to all my brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're all excited. You know, it's not every day that we have such educational programs for our young people. So I will MC today's program, and trust me, it will be rich with not only fun, but also inspirational guidance, interesting testimonies, music, and much, much more. So before we start, I would like to ask all my brothers and sisters to open up their cameras so that we can make this more interesting. The more faces we see, the more we can feel that you are here with us. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, there's still many other cameras closed. So we're going to wait just a little bit for you to open up your cameras so that we can see your beautiful and handsome faces. Great, nice. Okay. Okay, thank you. Yay. Thank you so much for opening your cameras. So before we start, I would like to quickly go through the program with you. So we will first start by offering greetings to Heavenly Parent and True Parents. And then to bless this program, I would like to invite Afikech Kalamat to offer the prayer. And then we will have a Hundoke reading. And after that, we will invite our regional president for opening remarks. And then we're going to have a little bit of fun with an icebreaker. And after that, we will receive one testimony from Soondo Mutewa, and then have an interlude with a very special song that has been prepared for us. And then we will have the regional vice president give a guidance on siblings love. And then after that, we will have announcements, closing remarks from our regional president, and we will close with greetings to Heavenly Parent and True Parents. Okay, so without wasting any more time, let's start our program. We are first going to offer our greetings to Heavenly Parent and True Parents. Okay, so with our love and respect, let's all give a half bow to our Heavenly Parent and True Parents. Chonjin, Champumanimke, Kyambe, Paro. For the opening prayer, I would like to pass over the mic to Afikech to bless this program with a prayer.
Good evening, everyone. Please join me in prayer. Our most beloved Heavenly Parent, our beloved true parents, all the good spirits in the good spirit world, we come before you this evening with a lot of gratitude in our hearts, thanking you for this opportunity. We are so grateful that we're able to be here today to attend this program, to learn from our elder brothers and sisters, so that we can be able to prepare for the platform. Pray that we can all have our hearts ready for the message that we're going to receive today. We pray for all the people who are on their way to join this, guide them. Please make it possible for all our youth to join and to be one in heart during this program. I thought of this in my name, Afikech Kalama, daughter of Bishop Francis Kalama Basri.
Aju. Thank you so much, my sister Afi, for that beautiful prayer. So now we will read our Hundoke, and I would like to invite my dear sister Myoga to read the Hundoke.
Thank you so much. To our 21 co-chairs, to our regional president and regional vice president, and all parents and brothers and sisters, good evening. My name is Mica Modisha, and I will be reading the Hundoke today. Experts from True Father Speech, True Love and True Marriage, Sun Myung Moon, August 21st, 2004, Seoul, Korea. What is true marriage? When a couple has accomplished the perfection of love and the perfection of their heart, it can be said that they have accomplished the family ideal. If you die on this foundation, you are certain to enter the kingdom of heaven. Why is marriage important? It is because it is the path by which we seek true love. The lineage of a man and woman are commingled. Through marriage, history is made, and on that foundation, nations are born and the ideal world can begin. When we marry, we must do so with the conviction that we do this not for ourselves, but for our partner. It is wrong for a person to try to gain a spouse on the basis of their high social standing, wealth, or beauty. Once we realize that human beings are born to live for the sake of others, we understand that marriage too is for the sake of our spouse. Our view of marriage must be that if our spouse has deficiencies, we will give him or her even more love than we would if he or she were the most beautiful person in the world. Having been born as human beings, we must be determined to love our partner as we love God, love our partner in the same way that we would love humankind, and love our partner more than we love any other person in the world. Otherwise, we cannot be restored to the kingdom of heaven as a husband and wife. If a man cannot love a woman truly, how can he expect to be able to love God or humankind? Marriage is a ceremony by which we open the gates and enter the palace of happiness. This is why marriage is a major occasion of moral significance. Because love exists and functions transcendent of time and space, it is the most important dimension of human life, and marriage is the ceremony in which this love is brought forth and confirmed. Adieu.
Adieu. Let us give all glory to our Heavenly Parent and true parents for these words. Thank you. And thank you so much, Mica, for that beautiful reading. So now, next up on our program, we will be inviting remarks. Please join me in welcoming our regional president.
Oh, thank you so much, Madam MC, for giving me the floor. Je dis bonsoir à Chuniwon Co-Chair.
I would like to greet our Chuniwon Co-Chair, if he's present. Good evening to our Regional Vice President, all sub-regional directors, national leaders,
Ici ce soir,
and our dear parents and children, members of the Heavenly Parents Holy Community here present for another session that in which we will talk about the relationship between children, to know more and understand more about our growth. This program is extremely important for the simple reason that we are here to build a new region, a region that
et d'exemple pour d'autres régions. Vous savez mieux que quiconque l'importance que la vraie mère de l'humanité, la fille unique des dieux, donne à la jeunesse, toute génération confondue. Et vous comprenez que pour hériter, vous avez besoin d'apprendre, de suivre et de garder, conserver ce qui est de plus précieux pour que vous aussi, vous transmettiez cela à la génération qui vient après vous. Donc, nous venons en ces lieux pour recevoir tant d'éléments nécessaires pour notre avenir et notre devenir. Ce que nous devons devenir dépendra de notre abnégation, notre détermination, notre engagement pour donner la joie aux parents célestes, donner la joie aux vrais parents, donner la joie à nos parents et donner la joie à nos frères et sœurs. Ainsi, la famille des 3 générations va se perpétuer, la tradition des 3 générations va se perpétuer de génération en génération. Et comme les vrais parents le disent, une famille où 3 générations vivent ensemble, c'est cette famille où le bonheur, la tranquillité, la paix et la joie. La joie pour les grands-parents d'avoir donné naissance aux enfants et ces enfants ont donné les petits-enfants. Et la joie pour les parents de voir que ce qu'ils étaient, ce qu'ils ont été est transmis à leurs enfants par ceux qui les ont mis au monde. Et pour les enfants, de comprendre que c'est une joie pour eux de vivre ensemble avec les 2 autres générations, apprendre. Et quand il y a des difficultés chez les parents, je sais où courir, je sais où aller me cacher. Et quand je vais jouer, quand je vais prendre, je sais où aller chercher la protection chez les grands-parents. La sagesse, l'amour, le souci d'encadrement, de continuité et aussi l'héritage que nous devons préparer. Voilà, toutes ces choses se confondent dans les 3 générations. C'est pourquoi, ensemble, nous avons intérêt à donner le meilleur de nous-mêmes, à être ensemble, à fournir un effort, fournir des efforts considérables pour comprendre l'importance de cette éducation, de cette formation. Alors, soyons très, très attentifs, déterminés, engagés pour que de meilleurs résultats viennent de tout ce que nous sommes en train de faire. Encore une fois de plus, merci d'être...
Once again, thank you very much. Thank you for your presence. And I declare the opening of the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much to our regional president for those beautiful opening remarks. So I guess the English speakers were not able to catch everything, but through your presence, we know and we can feel your love. So we are very grateful. So next up on our program is a super fun icebreaker game. And I hope that all of my brothers and sisters can participate in this game. Are you all excited? Are you ready for the game? Even our parents can join. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen so that we can play this game together. Okay. Okay, so can you see the screen? Okay, great. So the name of this game is called Guess Who? And the game is very simple. So we have our leadership, we know their faces, we have heard them and even heard some of their stories, right? So now I would display some little facts about each of them. And then you guys have to guess who the person is, okay? For example, was a comedian during his or her youth. And then now you have to guess who that person is. So are you ready? Okay, so let's go. Okay, so the first fun fact is I was in a rock band and playing bass guitar. People have recognized me as a girl since my voice was high when I was young. So, who could this be? Could it be Special Envoy Kenta? Or could it be our regional president, Papa Kadima? Could it be Special Envoy Soshaloba? Or maybe Special Envoy Philip? Let's say we have more. Okay, maybe it could be our Chonryuwon co-chair, right? You have to guess now. Could it be our regional vice president? Special Envoy Godson? Our regional BFD, Reverend Begre, or Jinsong? So now it's you guys. You have to guess. You can type all the different answers in the chat. Okay, who could it be? I can already see some answers. Godson, Kenta, Papa Kadima. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to share the answer. Who could it be? Okay, a few seconds. That is Special Envoy Kenta. Kenta, I think we're all curious to see one of those performances in your rock band, right? Okay, so next, we have another fun fact. Okay, so this one says, I wash my own clothes by hand washing. I wash my own clothes by hand washing. So guess who? Could it be any one of our leaders? Who could it be? Any guesses? Anyone? Okay. Papa Kadima, Sosholoba, Reverend Begre. Okay. Now let's see the real answer. And that is yes, for those who guessed right, that is our special envoy, Sosholoba. Okay, I think that's really impressive. And even myself, I do enjoy doing chores. I remember when I was home, every time I clean up a specific room, I would completely transform it in just a few hours. And my mom, she would try to do the same thing, but then she would spend the whole day. So yeah, I'm really, really impressed by that. So next, another fun fact reads, I was 23 years old and in high school when I went to the blessing. So who could this be? Now you have to guess. Guess who? This person was 23 years old and in high school when we received the blessing. Okay, so we're waiting to see your answers, your guesses. Anyone in the chat? Okay. Philip, Mica, someone is lost. Papa Kajima, Papa Kamara, Philip. Okay, wow. We have almost all of them, right, as guesses. So let's see. Okay, in a few seconds, I'm going to show the answer. Who is this person? Reverend Begre. Okay, applause for all of you who guessed right. So now moving on to the next one. So this one is a coffee addict and at the same time addicted to lollipops. This is really interesting. I wonder who could it be? Could it be our regional president, Special Envoy Philip, Papa Kamara, our regional vice president, Special Envoy Godson? Who could it be? Who is this person who is? Okay, I can see some. I can see some names in the chat. Someone says Philip. Godson is so sure it's Philip, and he even put it in caps. Okay, Ejong is sure it's Godson, and someone says Papa Bakari. Wow, okay. Wow, I can see many Godsons. Okay, let's see the answer together now. Who is this person who is addicted to coffee and to lollipops? And that is none other than Special Envoy Philip. Yay! Okay, Philip, I really don't know what to say because that's a real interesting combination. Okay, so now we know a little bit more about our leaders. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. So the fun fact is, cannot eat both chicken and eggs in the same meal. It has to be either one of the two. Who is this? Guess who? The original president, our original co-chair, original vice president, special envoy Philip, no, special envoy Godson or Jinsong. Who is it? Bring in your guesses. Papa Kadima, Papa Kamara. Okay, if the one who gets this answer correct should definitely know this leader because, okay, so I can see a lot of Papa Kamara. Yura says Papa Kamara, Godson, Reverend Begre also says it's a chonny one. Someone says it's hard. Okay, so I think many people know this one. It's a very simple. So for those of you who know your grandpa, you should know this fact, right? That he cannot eat both chicken and eggs in the same meal. They have to be separated because he says it's like cooking the mother and her children, and that's unfair, right? Okay, so bravo to all of you who got this one right. So next fun fact, this one reads, I cannot live without dairy foods in my life. Okay, so this person just has to have milk, yogurt, butter, and cheese in order to survive, right? So who is this? Is this our regional president, our regional vice president, special envoy Godson, or Jinsong? Who is this person who cannot live without dairy foods? Okay, I can see people saying Mica, our vice president. Okay, many of them are saying our vice president and also Godson. Okay, so everyone, most of the answers are pointing towards our vice president. So let's see who got this one right. Yes, for those who guessed that it was Special Envoy Godson, you got it right. So now, especially to my Nigerian brothers and sisters, you know what food or what gift to take for Godson whenever you visit him, right? Don't forget those dairy products. He loves them and cannot live without them. Okay. Okay, so next, this one is really interesting. I secretly would have loved to be a dancer. I secretly would have loved to be a dancer. Guess who? Could it be our regional president? Could it be our regional vice president or Jinsong? Okay, bring in your guesses in the chat. Okay, Papa Kajima, really? Okay, Jinsong. Okay, this is really interesting. Yeah, okay, regional president. Let's see, Joshua says Mica, I think. Okay, Ejang says elder sister Mica. Many people are saying Jinsong though. Okay. Wusang says our regional president. Okay, this is really fun. Okay, so let's bring out the answer. Who is this person? This is none other than our regional vice president. So she probably would have been a dancer maybe in another life. So I would never have guessed this. And I surely would love to see some of her dance moves. Hopefully one day we'll be able to see her dance for us. Okay, so let's move on with the next one. And this is the last question. the last fun fact that I'm going to share. So the fun fact reads, some years ago, he was surprised to be matched to his spouse. Okay, so the sum, it could either be, I'm not going to say if it was 30 years ago or maybe 3 years ago. Just know that it was some years ago, okay? So guess who? Is it our regional president or is it Jinsong? Somebody must have been surprised. Okay, everyone is saying Jinsong. Yura says Jinsong. Okay, Tehwan, okay. Is that all? Nobody is saying our regional. Okay, Papa Edwin says our regional president. Who else? Papa Piri says Jinsong. And someone says, Katsin says, it's clear, it's Jinsong. Okay. Okay, so it looks like nobody got this answer right. I did not see any answer here. I did not see any right answer. Okay, I'm gonna give a few more seconds for you to guess. Few more seconds. And the answer is both our regional president and Jinsong were both surprised to be matched to their current spouse. So bravo to all of you for your answers. I believe we have learned something more about our leaders. And I hope that you guys had fun in this game, this icebreaker. So we hope one day to hear more stories and testimonies from our regional president about his journey to the blessing, and also from Jinsong because they were both surprised. Okay, so thank you so much for participating in this icebreaker. So now we are going to be moving on with our program, okay? And next up on the program will be a testimony. So we have a very special guest for this testimony, and it will be given by a second generation brother who will share with us his inspirational journey to the blessing. He's been blessed for more than 8 years now. And as each year passes, his love for his wife grows infinitely. So please grab your notebooks, grab some tissue to wipe away your tears, because I'm sure after hearing this testimony, there will be many tears. So please join me in welcoming our dear brother, Soondo Mutewa, for his testimony. Please give a round of applause.
All right. Good evening, family. It's so nice to be here. And also thank you for the warm welcome to me. And wow, I feel very overwhelmed right now. And also it's been a while since I've really shared this testimony of my blessing. A lot of people have been telling me we've heard your story so many times, Soondo. So I don't know. But I'll try my best to like express my heart in this testimony. Yeah, so I'm going to start by giving a brief introduction to myself and my family. Then I'll also talk about my spouse, and then I'll also talk about the blessing, going for the blessing from a brother's perspective, and also some fears and also some challenges that also like I faced too as I decided to go for the blessing or took that choice. Yeah, and I'll just conclude with just some couple dynamics and then also where I am currently with my spouse. Yeah. Okay, so my full names are Soondo Innocent Mutewa. I'm 25 years old and I was born in Zambia. And I have amazing parents. My mother is called Jacqueline Mutewa, and my father is Eric Mutewa, and they're living in Zambia currently. and they're from the 1275 couple blessing. And I also have an amazing older sister. Her name is Gion. Shout out to Gion. Yeah, I hope you're. Yeah, she's also really amazing. And also, I want to talk briefly about my spouse. My spouse name is Hayong Pamyambigwi. Actually, let me scratch that. It's actually Mutewa now. Hayong Mutewa. And we got blessed in 2016. We had the privilege to have our blessing in Korea. At the time, it was the one of the Hyojong cosmic blessing. That was in February 20th. Actually, our anniversary is coming just a few days from now. And yeah, I'm really grateful to have received such an amazing daughter from heaven. So I'll talk briefly about, like what is my thought process as I took the decision to go for the blessing. At that time, that was in 2015, we received our Papa Kamara, and he called for a workshop. He called for it was a 7-day workshop. And at the time, even though no one really knew this, but I had a few challenges in my faith. And this was all centered on if like second generation are really special, because I try to see the difference between second generation and someone from like people from who are outside, and I couldn't really see any difference. I felt like to a certain extent that I even better than us. Yeah, and that led me to have a really big like identity crisis, because I really started to doubt myself a lot, and as a second generation, and I was really convinced that there really is no difference. And since at the time I was really passionate about electronics, I thought that let me just follow my own path. And when this workshop came, I decided to say this would be my last workshop. Yeah, if I really don't if I don't see anything special, if I see the same old teachings over and over again, then I think I'm just going to go and continue with my passion. And long story short, I really got to experience, learn so many things, and I got to realize that it's the type of education that we receive, is really important, and it's really good to take different perspectives, especially on the divine principle. And at that time, since I was a really horizontal person, I really wanted to find a way on how I can be a bit more vertical. So in order to do that, I decided to go on this journey in order to find God, to find true parents, and also to find myself. And I was so privileged to have like a spiritual experience with God during that period of time. And that was like I would say like the building block towards me, like starting to build this journey in my to become a really vertical person. So even when it came towards the blessing, it's very tricky actually, because to me there is always like a general reason why the blessing is important. The change of lineage, and also trying to also continue the tradition, continue the lineage. But sometimes I feel like it's very hard to connect to that, the general reason. And I decided to also develop my own personal reason why I should go for the blessing. And I really had to think really hard about this. And I came up with two main reasons at the time. And the first reason was that I really want to have someone, like the partner that I would like to have for the blessing is someone that I can grow together with. I really wanted someone to join me in this crazy adventure of life, because life is like a journey, and I just really wanted someone to help me, go through that process of growth, someone to be there with me during my growth. And also the second motivation I had was I really want to focus all my energy in just one person, one woman. I'm going to focus all my energy, all my effort. Yeah, because at that time I had a lot of friends who would easily get distracted. These are friends from outside. They would easily get distracted by like other women, and sometimes it would like deviate them from the original goals. So I really felt that if I just focus on one person, then that will also help me to be more focused on other goals that I would like to have too. Yeah, so like those are like the two main reasons I had that I really felt that resonated with my heart. And with that, I decided to go for the blessing. I said, this person that I'll get, I will share this with them. This is like my one of my motivations for going for the blessing. So yeah, long story short, the time of when we received our photos, because we went for the traditional way, the go matching, and we got a message that was during fundraising that the results are out, and now we have to prepare for them. And at the time, it's really funny. At the time, when the ceremony began, there were two people who they called first. And then the first two people that were called to like get their pictures, which were in an envelope, were Sister Sunmi and myself. so at the time I was like, so what's happening here? And when I got the photo, and I had to give a bow to two parents, and when I really felt like very calm in my heart, and there was like a voice that I heard in my head that said, "Don't worry, Soondo, you've gotten a really good spouse." And that really comforted me so much, to the point where I didn't even want to open the photo at all. I was like, well, okay, I'll trust you. Then the person who actually opened my envelope was Reverend Banda, Papa Banda. And he was like, "Oh, wow, it's this girl from Rwanda." Then I was like, "What? Which girl from Rwanda?" And then I was like, "Oh, wait, it's Hayong." And it was, yeah, I still felt so calm in my heart, but at the same time, I really felt like I wasn't really worthy to have a person who is like that, because Hayong was like a very vertical person, someone who was like very straight with her life of faith. While for me, I was trying to like have like a level ground, trying to find my way, to see what really is, involved in having a stable life of faith. So I really felt like we're not equally yoked at the time, and I felt really judged by that. And it came to a point where even if she really wanted to show me a lot of her love, it was so hard for me to receive it, because I started to that image or that idea of her not not being worthy for her was still in my mind. And I started to now have like so many ideas, like negative ideas, like saying, "Oh no, she's this type of person." At the time, like she had a gap on her teeth, and like I didn't really like that so much. And I was like, she has a gap on her teeth, she doesn't even look so pretty, for those who knew how she looked at the time. And it was so hard for me to actually see like the value that God wanted me to see at the time. So I still tried to give myself time to digest everything. And it was only when we after received the blessing, that was when we were in Korea, that I had some alone time. And in that prayer, I said, even though I told Heavenly Parents that even though I'm struggling right now, but I want to start making an effort. I made a promise to him. I said, I want to start making an effort in order to love your daughter. So I'm going to put 100% of my effort. And if it doesn't work out, then I don't think I would continue. So from there, I now started to put a lot of effort into like our relationship, started to oversee the barriers that started to creep into my mind at the time. And after like a period of time, I started my perspective about her started to change. I started to now see her in a different light. Like, not only did I like really get to accept and be attracted by her personality, like she's a really good person and she's got a really like warm and big heart. And I started to also like see her very attractive. Like even like the gap that she had in her tooth, I was like, I saw it really attractive. I was like, wow, why didn't I see this earlier? Like she looks so attractive to me. And it was something that was so surprising to me. Like what all this is like why am I feeling this now? And I really feel it's because of like the effort that I was putting into our relationship. And that was like a very big lesson I learned from like the blessing, which is sometimes heavenly parents won't really let us see the diamond that is in our spouse. Sometimes we have to like find it ourselves. And the process of finding it ourselves really helps us even become more attached to that person, because not only were you just given this person on a silver plate, like, okay, this is this diamond, but you've actually mined it yourself and you've got to see it. Yeah. And yeah, and that's also like an aspect I really I really like take to this time. Like, even though we can receive our spouse, but if we don't put so much effort, it will be very difficult to see like the value, the main reason why God gave us this person. Yeah. And also this kind of leads to I also want to add another point on this, which is in terms of like brothers, there's this perspective of what a man should be from society, and also myself. And most of the times, like, we are so attracted to like this aspect of what the society expects from men, right? Like, men have to be like, you have to like establish yourself, you have to focus on yourself, king, focus on yourself first, and have a certain level of like success. And from there, then you can now open up to do other stuff. Yeah. And also there are also like many other aspects of like what a man should really be, which I feel we get very attached to as especially as brothers growing up. Yeah, we expect that, oh no, a man should always be like this, and be like that. But is that who you really want to be? This is a question that I asked myself. I said, do I really want to uphold these values that I don't even resonate with me, but which is seem normal, like from society? Or I want to, choose the values that I want to uphold as a person. Yeah. So I like to say there's the perspective of a man and there is Soondo. So I want to create values that Soondo want to uphold, and do my best to keep myself accountable in upholding them. Yeah. So I feel like that's also like a really big challenge that I faced. Like, I want to be like this man that society expects me to be, right? Like, you have to provide, you have to be this type of person. But there's also me. Like, I also have like certain values that I want to uphold that maybe do not even resonate with what the society's expectation of being a man is. Yeah. So rather than focusing on what the expectation, what a man should really be, focus on what type of values you want to uphold as an individual. Qualities like loyalty, like big integrity, all these different values, and try your best to keep yourself accountable to them. And yeah, and that was like one aspect that I really it was very hard for me to like shift to, even during the time of my blessing. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically just like a few points I wanted to share on like the blessing from a perspective of like a brother, and also some challenges, and also some fears that we might be facing during that time that we are trying to decide to go for the blessing. Yeah, and also one other aspect that I also found that was very valuable was trying to continue to build a good relationship with heavenly parents and true parents, and also our ancestors, because our ancestors really played a big role in my relationship with my spouse. I remember there was just one time when I challenged my ancestors. I told them that I really don't believe that you're here, and if you really are here with me and you want to support my blessing, then you'd make because at that time we had like a lot of challenges with my spouse in terms of like understanding each other, and I said, if you really are with me, then you would really let my spouse understand my situation. And just like a few moments later, I heard my spouse call me and she said, "Oh, Soondo, I want to talk to you." And when she decided to talk to me, she was like very soft. And she said, "Oh no, Soondo, actually, when you express this point," she started like breaking down really what I was trying to express, but I couldn't find the right words. And I was really surprised. I was like, wow, my ancestors are actually there. Because it almost happened very instantly. And like there are also like many aspects where I could really feel like not only are my ancestors supporting me, really want this relationship to work, but also heavenly parents and true parents too. Yeah, sometimes I would find whenever I'm going through a struggle and I offer a prayer, sometimes I'll just receive a solution on what to do, on how to like deal with a certain issue that we're experiencing with like maybe my spouse, and like there's so many different like dynamics to it. Yeah. So part of like having a successful blessing is having also like a successful like a constant life of faith. Yeah. Sometimes if your life of faith is not very like if you're not so aligned to what's really happening, the chances of you like deviating and not seeing like your spouse from like a wholesome perspective, it actually leads. Maybe you get to only see one side of like your spouse, which is like the external aspect. And the external aspect always changes. It always changes from time to time. So without like having being aligned, sometimes it's very easy to like deviate from or like have a different perspective on your spouse, and that can also like bring a lot of challenges. Yeah. So I and also like relating to my parents, my parents have been like super supportive. Have been super supportive of our blessing, and they've always tried to give me as much advice as they can, especially on how I could, relate to like a sister, because at that time I didn't really understand everything. I didn't really understand how to go about, because like for most guys who've been raised as you sisters, you should interact with them, you should even look at them, don't look, don't touch, don't see, don't think. And this is like a whole new aspect of like your life. Like you have to put a lot of effort into the messages that you write to them. You really have to be mindful of what you say. You really have to like be very like firm of what you're saying. if you're not very sure of what you're saying, you're going to be questioned. And if you don't have a proper answer, oh my God, you're gone. So they really, especially my mother and my sister Jion, they really helped me to like try and overcome those like aspects that I did not see in terms of like building our relationship. And also like I got the privilege to go and see my in-laws last year in Rwanda, and it was also a really amazing experience. I got to also see my spouse's family, Hayong's family, and I really had a really good time with them. Having a closer relationship with Mama Helen, and also Papa George. It was such an amazing experience that I had, and also getting to see my spouse in her family also got to see. It really put me in a different perspective. I got to see in a different light. Yeah. So yeah, there's so many like different dynamics when it comes to like a relationship, and family is definitely one of a big factor. Without their support, sometimes it would be very hard for us to really digest the whole aspect of the blessing. Yeah, and I'd like to conclude this with just like an update of where we are at the moment. So we finally got to start family. That was like last year, and we are yeah, we're slowly getting to see a different aspect in our relationship, because we've always been talking about taking our relationship to the next level. And I'm really so grateful that we had like this like experience, and also like having the patience of like waiting for her during this whole period of time has been very challenging, but like when the time came, it was really worth it. Yeah. And I really want to just encourage also people to also have that perspective of growing together with your spouse, even though you don't have like any type of foundation, but like growing together, makes you have enough time to get to know them, and also like get also to like not see this person as someone foreign. I think one of my biggest like like fears is I do want to quickly go into a relationship with my spouse, and we don't have a lot of time to get to know each other. So I start to see her like as a stranger, like who is this person I'm living with, But as you get to grow together with them, you really get to open up different aspects of your relationship. You get to see her as a sister. You get to see her as a as like even like as a wife. You get to see her as a, even like sometimes she has like a younger sister, your older sister, or like a friend. So when we enter into a blessing, some little bit later, sometimes you only get to see them as your husband or as your wife, and getting to experience those other aspects of your relationship is sometimes very difficult. Yeah, and it needs a lot of time. Yeah, so I think that was like one of the things that I was trying to like avoid when it comes to my relationship, and I'm glad that we had to like grow together during this period of time. So I want to conclude with this, and thank you so much for listening. I hope that you could at least get a few things from my short testimony. Thank you so much.
Wow. I think after hearing your testimony, I believe most of our brothers and sisters here who were hesitating, should I go for the blessing or should I wait? I'm sure they already filled in the blessing forms, probably already bought their wedding dresses and suits because your testimony was that powerful. So thank you so much, Soondo, for such a beautiful testimony. One point that really stood out for me after listening to your testimony is not to expect receiving a diamond, but really knowing that you have to work hard to remove the dirt, to really clean up and remove all the crust so that your spouse, your diamond, can shine. Because every one of us is eventually a diamond, but except that we are covered in, a lot of dirt and all that. And this dirt sometimes could be painful, sometimes difficult and challenging, but that's the process in order for you to really have your diamonds. So today, we're really happy and we're really grateful to hear this beautiful testimony from Soondo. And I hope we can hear more testimonies like this, especially from the brothers side. Okay, so now that was just the beginning of this program. We have prepared a lot of good stuff for all of you. And next up is a beautiful song which has been presented by our special envoy, Godson Oguri. So please, dear brothers and sisters, please enjoy this song.
Always said I would know where to find love. Always thought I'd be ready and strong enough. But sometimes I just felt I could give up. But you came and you changed my whole world now. I'm somewhere I've never been before. Now I see what love means. It's so unbelievable. And I don't want to let it go. It's something so beautiful, flowing down like a waterfall. I feel like you've always been forever a part of me. And it's so unbelievable to finally be in love, somewhere I never thought I'd be. In my head, it's so clear now. On my hand, you've got nothing to fear now. I was lost and you've rescued me somehow. I'm alive, I'm in love, you complete me. And I've never been here before. Now I see what love means. It's so unbelievable. And cry. Break down and cry. Oh yeah. Oh, it's so unbelievable. And I don't want to let it go. It's something so beautiful, flowing down like a waterfall.
Wow, that was so beautiful. Let's show our appreciation with a round of applause. Thank you. Wow, I think my sister Kana is very, very lucky because she can listen to all of these love songs which Godson sang for her. Hannah, thank you so much for allowing Godson to share these beautiful songs with us, with all of us today. So dear brothers and sisters, and also dear parents who have joined us, that was only one part of our program. There's still a lot more for you. And next up will be a very, very interesting guidance on sibling love. And this is so important, especially as you are preparing for the blessing. So you cannot miss this. So please, together, join me in welcoming our Regional Vice President for her guidance.
Okay. Greetings and good evening to our regional president, Reverend Jean-Pierre Kadima and Papa Kadima. Good evening to our 21 co-chair, Papa Kamara, and to all of our elders, our parents who are here, and of course to my beloved brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining us today. I hope my internet connection is okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, all right. So yes, also thank you to my brother Soondo for sharing his testimony. I also felt like, yeah, it's really amazing to hear our different journey in coming to experience, you know, our spouse and what that means for us, and you know, the first stages of that, and eventually what we learn from it. So everyone has that story, those of us who've gone through that process, and I really think we can learn from each other and encourage each other and be here for each other as brothers and sisters. Yeah. So today I'll be sharing about the topic, which is actually going to be on siblings love and children's love. Yeah, so I'm using actually Prezi's screen. I hope it's going to work for me this time, but because actually when I share my screen, I don't like it because I can't see you. So I'm trying to use this this system of being able to present without sharing my screen and not being able to see who I'm talking to. So I hope it will work. Because sometimes maybe I think it takes a bit of internet and then it doesn't work that well, but I will try and see how we go, right? Okay, yeah, so I've written out my speech today because I'm someone who usually doesn't. I usually go with my heart and with the flow, and obviously I can share things and, you know, prepare myself for that. But today I just felt like I wanted to write it out and see, because sometimes also when I write things out, I feel like my message is clearer because I write it out and I don't miss out things. So I will, you know, you may see me maybe reading and at the same time maybe expressing things, but yeah, I hope it will also convey the message that I feel needs to be conveyed. But yeah, I'm really grateful to be here as an elder sister, and I also want to share my story. Today will be more trying to express how much I feel our understanding of children love, like we as children to Heavenly Parent, to our parents, is so important in the process to the blessing, and also our understanding and practice of sibling love and the right process for that in preparing us for the blessing. So I'll be sharing on these two areas, even though it may seem wide, because right, we're here talking about the love of a husband and wife, which is conjugal love. But I do feel this is where we're heading, right? But where we really are practicing the love, all of us that are still preparing for the blessing, the main part of practicing that love is first with our parents and then also with our brothers and sisters. So let me read and share my message today. So as shared today, my message is about children love and sibling love in the perspective of the blessing. So why are we talking about these two loves when we all know that the blessing is also about conjugal love? So the love of a man and woman, and the love of a husband and wife, and the love of the one and only love of my life, right? That is conjugal love. So yeah, we're here to talk about that, and this is where we'll be sharing about this. But as some of you are here preparing to enter into that new chapter of life, or thinking about it, or perhaps, you know, we have already entered into it, I know all of you here have already passed through and experienced love between parents and a child, right? Parent and child love. And also love between brothers and sisters. So peer and our peers, what we call sibling love. So today, actually, I just want to focus on these two loves. The love we are meant to give to our parents and the love we are meant to give to our brothers and sisters, as that is what we have control over at the moment, right? We can't control what we're not in, right? We're not yet in the relationship maybe with our husband and wife, or as, you know, majority of us also preparing for that. So that is why I want to share more about what do we have control over, which is actually at this point what we can share, which is now sharing love to our parents and love to each other as brothers and sisters. So that's why I put here the 4 realms of love highlighted here in this slide. So we'll be talking about the parent love to the child, and mainly we as the child, our relationship and our return of that love to the parent. Then sibling love between brothers and sisters, because that actually is also very important in our understanding of love before we enter into a conjugal relationship of love. So this is what we call the 4 realms of love, which is parent and child, sibling love, parent to the child, then brothers and sisters, and then conjugal love, and also children love. Yeah. So let me start my message though by sharing first a story. This story is one that I wrote out of also my reflection in regards to the big story of where it all began, the Garden of Eden, right? So let me read this story. I'll actually just read it because I think it makes more sense through that. So the story is titled The Voice of Eve. Okay, the voice of Eve. I hope you know who Eve is, right? So, have we ever wondered what the true story of Eve was? That fatal story that is told over and over again in millions of languages to millions of generations to illustrate why it is that they are not happy now, and why it is that they are still in pain, or why it is that all is wrong with the world. Eve, ever. It may be different, it may be in different languages, but all point to the same girl or woman in a certain garden on one fatal day at the beginning of all time. It is so often that I just listen to this story and wonder why. Just a mistake from one person can cause the whole of creation to be in ruin. The life as was supposed to be gone. And the pain that we feel to be so real, unbearable, and undescribable in words. We often can just hear this story and either get angry and question, could she not have stopped it from happening? Why risk her whole happiness for that? I know I have. I would sometimes get so angry at her, and then even Adam as well. I mean, surely you could have known to do things differently, so that the consequences would not be so tragic to the point that it will affect the whole of the descendants to come and cause the heartache of their father, their mother, and all those around and all those to come. We just hear that as it happened, no one took the blame and they were sent by their father out of their home, just like that. Hearing this story, sometimes we do not really attach the true emotion behind what happened that day. Think about it, your only daughter and son. And because of this one mistake, goodbye. Was it that easy? How could an attachment just be broken like that? And yes, life just kept going. Adam and Eve get married, or maybe just live together, have kids and start a family. But this is Eve, never being able to know and receive complete love from her father or mother. Adam, not really also knowing to receive love from his parents. So of course their children grow up in an environment with parents not really knowing how to give their parental love to their children. They grow up in an environment as parents, but not really knowing how to give their parental love to their children. right? Love is the core of what we are all looking for, the core of what we want and desire. However, the first school for which we are to learn about it, the family, never even knew it in the first place. We just got half the picture, if not the wrong picture. And that is what we are placing our greatest desire on. What I want to share with you all today is that we have been fooled. We have got the wrong information. We have tapped into the wrong sources, and we are just continuing down this path that will only lead us to more ruin. Yes, now I'm sure some of you may be thinking, here we go. Now it's going to come about how wrong the world is and how much we need to all be saved by believing and following the right school. And then a religious name will pop up, and that religious name will be our religion, right? Our truth, because we have the truth. So yes, I could say that. I could say that is true because I believe that, but I won't. I will just say what I have come to know about what really happened in the garden that very, very long time ago, what really happened to Eve, who we have come to blame for everything that goes wrong in the world, right? The Garden of Eden, what happened to the first human ancestors, what really was felt in those times, which would not have just been a one-day event, but a long, crucial, painstaking period of heartbreaks and confusion and tears of all parties involved. I will just share it, and you can make up your mind about what you think about it and which school of love is correct and true, and which school of love will get you to your true happiness. So that is my story, and I wanted to share this story because I believe all of us who are here know this story about the fall. I don't want to repeat it, right? And we know how much we must not take that same path. Our parents have drilled that into us. And that the only way to true happiness is not doing what Adam and Eve did, but to wait, keep pure, and receive the blessing in order to create ideal families. We have all heard this, and we are here because of that, right? So we know that is right. It seems easy, right? To just do that. But why does it also seem so hard? Well, I think it's because we are competing with a society that has portrayed love from the wrong school. And yet it looks so easy, so good, and so simple. But behind the scenes, right, it also ends up in the same way it did that very long, long time ago, in ruin and a cycle of mistrust, pain, and breakups. We've seen this. Movies may portray things differently and show the happy ending, but what happens after the cameras are down, right? What happened to the Disney fairy tales? Do we ever wonder after they had children, what happened? You know, reality is it's very fun and nice to see the happy ending, but truly life doesn't end with just finding your best and perfect match. It continues, and it continues together. And it continues now with trying to harmonize between somebody that is completely and sometimes often different from you. So how does that happen? Reality is many are still trying to figure that out. So that's why, you know, although we are here and we understand this is the ideal and, you know, we've been trying to live by it, it seems hard because also we're competing, unfortunately, with a society that has shown us otherwise in regards to love. Like this perfect happy ending, find your spouse, find your happiness, do what you want, enjoy everything even before you get married, you know. This kind of life, this kind of portrayal of life, of love is there. It's everywhere. It's in movies, it's in media, everywhere, right? And we see it. We just finished Valentine's Day, right? You know, portraying love, but sometimes really this like, just find your Valentine's, just like that, you know. So definitely we are living in a society that is showing love, yet our parents are showing us another way of how love should be formed. So we of course also are born and raised with this truth, right? The right school of love, and also have come to understand the ideal of what should be the way to find love. And also our parents and community even preach that ideal very strongly. But are we even living that ideal? You know, even as a community, are we living that ideal? Are we portraying the true love that we keep preaching about? You know, as a child, I used to think yes, because I grew up in my early teenage years, actually in Nigeria, my brother godson would know me from there. It was very enclosed. We were doing homeschool. We just lived as community, blessed families in this big house, all with one room to each family with 4 kids or more, very small, tiny rooms to share with. But, you know, I felt kind of, it was Chanelguk in a way, mainly because, you know, we were taught what we were, you know, we were taught, and we didn't see anything else. I didn't see anything else in the sense of my friends outside doing other things. I was just living with my community of brothers and sisters, and we were raised together as in the same way. So I kind of felt we were already living the ideal. But my later years of high school, which actually happened when we moved to Australia, I finished grade 9, 10, 11, 12 in Australia. And actually we lived in a city with no big community, just our home. And we were practicing Untitled, right? Practicing, you know, all the traditions, one of which was, you know, during the holy day of New Year, God's Day that time, we would have to pray at midnight, which I always used to think was so interesting because everyone else was partying, but we would just, midnight would come and we would start praying, right? So while the rest of the world seemed to be having fun, seemed to be successful, we were in this kind of enclosed home, only our home doing this. And so this is when I started questioning, you know, well, this ideal that my parents talk about, it's great. It's actually very good. It's great, you know, finding peace and love for all. But is it really possible? Because I just felt it felt so impossible because it just felt like our family, only one family or 1 or 2 families doing it. So can we really achieve it? You know, this was my question. So even love and the blessing, is it all as it is preached to be? You know, I mean, I see a lot of problems in my family as well, and also in other families, in our communities, even though we are blessed families. Do we really have the answer to true lasting love and happiness? And actually, wait, how will I know the person that is chosen for me is really the right one? Will I really love him, or will he really love me? Will he really understand me? So yes, we may have the right school of love that we teach, that our true parents shared with us, but why do I not see it really showing the fruits in our community even, and those around me? I was actually questioning this, and I'm sure we may have these questions sometimes, or maybe not at all, but definitely we have questions about love that we are still trying to figure out. So this is where I want to go to my main point of my message. Reality is love never came from us. We were born into it. We learned it first and foremost from the one who owns it first, and that is our creator, right? Our original heavenly parent, heavenly parent, and they passed that on to our true parent. You know, heavenly parent needed someone to pass on that love. That was supposed to be Adam and Eve. But unfortunately, they couldn't feel it and couldn't live it. So God has been working tirelessly for all these years to find someone who could provide it and bring it into formation in the world. So basically, love, it doesn't come from us. So, you know, we have to learn it from somewhere. And, you know, in order to really own it as well, we have to learn it from the stages of life that was given to us to learn it from. You know, God owns it. And in order for us to own it, we also need to learn it from the 4 stages that I shared in relation to life. So the first stage is actually learning it from our parents. You see my beautiful parents there. So through the love they give us, this is me right here and this little baby there. So in fact, they say the first type of feeling we get to feel safe and trust comes from a mother to a child in the first form of interaction, actually. In Korean, they call this mojong. Mojong, mo meaning mother, and jong meaning like this feeling or connection, right? And there's a slide that actually emphasizes that. I don't know if this is going to work for me. Okay, that's great. Mojong, it says, the earliest time an individual is exposed to the experience of jong is when a baby is held and carried by his or her mother. As the mother's warmness penetrates to and is felt by the baby, so too the jong permeates to the heart of the baby. This type of jong is called mojong, which exists during the remainder of the person's life. This total trust of life and person without logic or reason starts from the earliest experiences of life as a child grows older. As a child grows older, the Jong experience will expand to include interactions between him, her, and the father, friends, or other relatives, neighbors, and members of the community. Yeah. So this slide, I really got attracted to this because what's so interesting about it is basically the first connection that a child has, even beyond logic, knowing even who this person is that feeling of warmth and what they call mojong, like attraction and connection, which actually is going to define their feeling of trust, which will permeate through other relationships that they make as they grow. So as we know, even not just our religion or any, sociology, psychology, they mention actually the child feeling of trust that will build relationships in the long term really starts from their first interaction with their parents. If that is not there, for instance, if they don't have that connection, they start already feeling lack of trust and maybe some kind of not understanding how to relate. So that's so interesting. Even beyond logic, that first connection is needed. So the relationship between a mother and a child or a parent and a child is so needed to build relationships in the long term. This is not just a religious statement. This is, a well understood scientific, psychologically, even sociologically proven statement that the relationship of a parent and a child, early formation is very needed for development in life. So, that's something, we are basically sharing how this is so important. So then this is the first thing that attracts us, that connects us to love and understanding relationships. So then we as children, actually, our first love, the first love that we know of is to our parents. And, and actually it's not by really doing anything at all that we give love. Just by existing, we give love. It seems strange, in fact, we give our parents a lot of trouble, but all they feel from us is love. We give love even without knowing it, just from existing. And our parents empty themselves completely to give us love. This is me here, completely just emerged like a queen, and my parents around me giving me food. And they love me so much, and here I am doing nothing but just sitting and eating, right? So this is something I felt, in those early years, our parents actually, give everything. They empty themselves for us. And it's actually, also those early years that our parents are really our life. That's all we see. They're our God. We look only up to them. And this is a love that eventually has to evolve into us returning love, which mother calls hyojong. Really the love of sincerely honoring and truly loving our parents and living with them, But this love we have to learn to provide through our concern for our parents and the realization actually that they gave everything to us, because just from our existence, our parents love us. Just from our existence, we give love to them, even without even doing anything, And if I go now to God, that's actually what it is. Just from our existence, we give love and we brought joy to God. But we didn't do hardly anything, just live and be, right? And but it has to come now to our realization eventually to recognize that actually this love, because of all the love I've received for even just being myself, just existing, then, how to return that love to my parent is something we also need to grow and learn. Let me show how I feel this has really this has really been the truth for me. And this is my little daughter, my youngest daughter, Yelin. But I hope this is going to work because I'm not sharing sound or anything. So I'm not sure if it will work, but I'll try. Can you hear the sound? Can you hear the sound?
No, unfortunately.
No, we can.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's a shame. Anyway, basically, this is her laughing away at me because I'm peekabooing with her, and yeah, so she's she's really enjoying it, and I'm enjoying it as well because she's just laughing so much. So I'm not even she's not doing much, but I'm really enjoying her, and maybe at the end I'll show you that just to give you a bit of laughs. But basically, this I experienced. Her existence and the existence of my children just bring me joy. They give me a lot of pain as well, because I have to wake up late, early mornings, feed them. Sometimes, they can really frustrate me with after one after the other, wanting to do poos and having to change them and whatever, but they give you so much joy. And I think those of you who are parents, you recognize that very strongly. And I feel that's definitely God's, why do I have that? It's because I have it because I was created with it, and therefore my creator definitely may have that, right? So this is so important. And it's something I feel, we as children need to start to recognize, like this. Definitely the love that our parents have for us is beyond even just what we know. So let us try and understand it. Let us try and see it even from their perspective. So that's, the first love as a parent to a child, and then us also to them. We give it to them even without really knowing. And then the second is obviously at the stage of a teenager, where we rely a lot on what we call sibling love. And this is love between our brothers and sisters. This is actually me and my younger sister, Janae, and we were here. And so, yeah, this love is there. There's a sibling relationship love. And this is also an important stage of love, as it is love that prepares to deal with the opposite gender, and to prepare us to share and learn to give love to others. It is where also our me-centered way of thinking should eventually change to other-centered focus. Because actually, as a child, you have a very me-centered, only me. It's very hard to share. I see it among my children now. Like, I want it first, and to share is like, I don't want to share. But anyway, we're trying to teach them to share. So this me-centered focus is there. It's part of our growth. We're a child. We're receiving everything. We're basically the queens and kings of life. God, just created us like that. Everyone gives love to us. So we have it. But when we have a relation, now we have siblings in our life. And eventually when we get to a teenage period or age, when we grow up, basically, we have to get to a point of learning to share and have an other-centered focus instead of a me-centered focus. And that's a normal part of life, because it's where we then start growing to recognize the other. And our whole focus is not just our parents only, but actually our siblings, which is necessary because it's actually preparing us for the next stage of our love, next stage of life, which is where we have actually a relationship of conjugal love. So it's a normal phase to be in, and to start looking at your peers as, kind of more attractive, not just physically, but just you're interested. They're more interesting than your parents, basically, because they like what you like. They're, and they love doing things that you like doing and things like that. So the peers become very interesting and actually become a focus point. And we all go through that stage where our peers become, our friendship groups are very important. Even sometimes, maybe we could even say at that time more important than our parents, because we are in that stage of developing relationships among each other as brothers and sisters. So it's a very important stage. This is me and my brother. And it's a stage also where really our scope of interest goes beyond just our parents. And it's normal. We should not leave our parents out, because actually the source of love stems from there. And it is only through that source that we can give proper love to have true relationships with our brothers and sisters. However, it is a normal state to start looking, beyond just our parents. But what is still important, what is very important still, which I'll emphasize in the next point, is that we still need to have our parents. Our source of love is still our parents. Even when we're a teenager, you can go out and you have great fun with your friends, but you still have to go home. That's where your food and your meals come from, right? So it's still there. The source of love and comfort and guidance is from your parents. And now if you have that properly well-rounded, then you can also share that with your brothers and sisters. But if you leave your parents out, that's when things become a little bit problematic, even among brothers and sisters and among peers. Our relationships become a bit obscured in that we don't really give the way we are meant to give. So this is actually what I feel happened in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve. In fact, from the book of Mrs. Gil Sa-U, she wrote a book called The Testimony to God's Word in regard to the divine principle. And she mentions, actually, she was very close to True Father. So True Father gave a lot of stories. And in this book, she shares these stories. And she mentions how Father said that when Adam and Eve were growing up, at one point in their life, Adam became very curious about all the things around him and would go exploring. And for Eve, it would become actually exhausting at times. And she wanted to share and sometimes just talk, right, as a sister would. But Adam was too curious and boisterous and eventually would leave her alone, wanting to explore the mountains, the hills, and just travel around the created world that God gave them. And so for Eve, she was actually, sometimes lonely because she wasn't fast enough to really follow up with Adam and do what Adam wanted. And so that was when Lucifer had a chance to spend time with Eve, and being intelligent, teach all the things to make her mind satisfied, right? He would tell her stories and, and we hear that actually God, True Father mentions that Lucifer was the archangel of knowledge, So actually Adam and Eve were meant to be doing this together, learning together, sharing together, exploring together, growing together. And with time that could have happened. And then, of course, from that, the blessing would have bounded them together to expand their minds beyond what they could do on their own. God was planning to eventually bless them, and then this would expand their minds to more than just on their own level. But however, before they could do that, as you know from the story, Lucifer came into the picture and took the role of Adam, right? The role Adam was meant to have with Eve. And Eve became moved by him, inspired by him. And instead of bringing God into the picture to share with, she actually started to leave God out of the picture. And Adam also, in the world of his own, was starting to leave God out. And together, actually, the children of God were slowly creating and being in a life that, without their parents, basically. So, of course, this is True Father, that, there is actually a clear speech that explains what True Father said about that time. But really, this was kind of what he was expressing, that actually at that time, Adam and Eve, when we look at the story, we can just think, okay, they ate the fruit and then God sent them out and then that's it. But there was a long process before that happened. There was a long process. It was just a life together with God. And suddenly, Adam and Eve were supposed to be growing together, but just because we know male and female, they're different. So the way they wanted to have fun was a bit different. And instead of maybe trying to figure that out, or instead of Adam maybe trying to think, okay, let me go and see what Eve's doing. Maybe she wants me to, or let me slow down so she can come with me and not be so fast so that, we can go together. Instead of thinking on that level, like thinking of her other focus, not just himself or her in Eve as well, instead of just thinking of her, oh, I want to do my own thing, why Adam is just leaving, instead of doing that, they started like maybe just, okay, I'll just do my own thing, right? And that's where they were now kind of diverging from each other as brothers and sisters. And that's also where Lucifer came into the picture. Of course, there's a story behind why he did that, which I don't want to go through here. But basically, instead of bringing God into this and saying, God, Adam's doing this, or I want to do this, or how can I, they entered into their own relationships without God. They left God out of the picture. And I think this is something, we can relate to. I personally think I can relate to this story because, yeah, growing up, in fact, I didn't even really have a good understanding of brothers because I didn't have my younger brother came when I was 16. So I didn't really understand brothers. And as we know, growing up, we are told don't relate with brothers, so I didn't even actually have many friends that were brothers because it was just not, ideal and wasn't kind of normal. So I feel like I didn't understand brothers at all, but it was necessary for me to have a relationship actually as a brother, brother, sister, not as a boyfriend or attraction, but someone that you could just understand the brother perspective from. It is normal. But unfortunately, the environment that we've created, unfortunately, has made it like even when you have a friend as a brother, people think, oh, is he your boyfriend? Even if he might be just your friend. But because of the way this environment is now, that's how it looks like. Even now at a young age, when you see kids together, like, oh, it's your future boyfriend. But actually, they're just their brother. Why do we have to think they're your boyfriend or have any kind of relationship in terms of in that aspect of, a sexual relationship, which unfortunately kind of comes when you say boyfriend and girlfriend. Even though it's still friend in the English term, but that's what it's come down to, So I do feel like this environment has unfortunately been created because even our first human ancestors we're supposed to live together as brothers and sisters, understand each other, respect each other as brothers and sisters, you know, and then enter into that relationship that God was going to bless them with. But before doing that, before really completing themselves with that kind of love, you know, unfortunately, Eve fell. You know, she went to relate with someone who was older, someone who she felt was more intelligent than Adam, someone who she was getting more inspiration from. So, you know, I think we've seen this story also before in our lives. Girls somehow attracted to older, you know, they're more interesting than the younger ones because, or my own peers, because they're a little bit, they look like they just want to play like immature people. You know, this kind of thinking comes as, actually, I have to say, I feel like it has come and we still even have it, because I feel that's what happened, you know. So even when Eve had the fruit, then it said that her eyes were open. And, you know, what I feel from that is basically she came to understand things differently and, you know, was more intelligent and, understand the world around her. And I think that's because of what Lucifer was giving to her, you know, and eventually a sexual relationship does get you to another level of understanding. And even though at that time she was probably still relating with Adam, she was probably thinking, oh, this guy, like, who is he? He doesn't know this and that, you know, but at the same time, yeah, she was knowing that she shouldn't be with Lucifer. You know, of course, this is just my feeling of what could have happened. Why I'm saying this is because I think this is what we see even in the world today. I'm kind of relating it because I think it relates to what we see in the world today, you know, and it makes sense that actually this could have happened. And that's why even our environment today is a bit like that. You know, so that is why True Mother mentions that what really brought the events to the fore was not that they just disobeyed God, their parent, but that they did not consider God. You know, they did not practice Hyojong, the love of a child, that a child should return to their parent, not out of duty, but out of due respect and sincerely honoring and truly loving your parent, because they gave you life, basically. They gave you everything. So this is what True Mother shares is what we need to bring back into our lives, because it was this love that unfortunately Adam and Eve did not exhibit well. They didn't have it. And as a result, we were left practicing a love that was not centered on its original source. A love that was selfish, focusing on me first, not others first. A love that eventually dies out because it is not attached to the cycle of love, which is meant to be continuous and expand the more you love. So a love that can continue to replenish itself because it is connected to the source of love, that is God, right? Which will never die out of giving love. Basically, this love is what this is the source of where love comes from. So if we leave that source of love out, which is from God, and have relationships with each other, we end up not really knowing how to give love fully. And in fact, become needing love, and then wondering why it's not coming. Because we don't know where, you know, it's not obviously coming from that person, because if that person doesn't also receive it from God, then they also become, you know, dry of being able to give eventually, because they're giving and giving and giving, but not receiving the source from the source. So in the end, we become needing more. And if we don't get it, that's when now conflicts start happening. Yeah. So that's why for me, the source of love, I think we have to be very clear where it comes from, because it doesn't come just from me and my husband, or me and my wife. Unfortunately, I don't know, but it doesn't come just like that, because we didn't create it. We got it from somewhere. Even my husband got it from somewhere, I got it from somewhere. If we block that source, I'm sorry to say, as much as we may love each other, eventually it dries out. And that's where I'm trying to explain. God is that source. Basically, that source we need to connect to if we truly want a continuous love together. Yeah. So, you know, this is something I really feel is, for me, is very real. And I feel like I want to share it to you. And this is what True Mother is mentioning. You know, that's what was missing from the beginning. So in reality, our first human ancestors ended up leaving their home and raising their children, basically all of us, their descendants, in a love that was not complete, a love they never fully allowed to bloom in them before giving it out, and therefore they became needy instead of giving. So that is why up until now, the understanding of love, especially love between a man and woman, seems very selfish and desired focused. Instead of also bringing God, our parent, into it together, we seem to just want it from getting it from somewhere you know, from each other, but eventually it doesn't complete itself. So, you know, if we get it from God, this would complete it. So we will have complete love and then be able to give complete love to our children, who can then be raised in complete love and thereby form complete relationships of every level of relationship, you know, because that's where they get their understanding of relationships, is from the first relationship with their parent. So if we are able to give that complete love, then their ability to receive that will then complete themselves in being able to give love and other relationships that they will form in their lives. So that is why I want to conclude by sharing that before we start looking for a relationship of love between our significant other, let us really make sure we heal and recover the love we should be giving to our parents. First, our heavenly parent. Let us really practice Hyojo. Practically, you know, let's look towards heavenly parent. Let's look towards true parents who are representing heavenly parent. Like the sunflower, always looking towards the sun. Let us be that, as True Mother mentions. The Hyo Paragis, always looking towards true parents. Know their desire, right? Know their concern, know their heart. Practice doing what they love, which is living for others. You know, practice doing what they love. If you feel you're distant from your parent, from true parents, heavenly parent, do what they love. Practice that. And I'm sure you'll start to see, this must be their heart of a parent. This is what they feel like. And this is why they want me to keep doing this, you know. So this is really one thing I feel, you know, that we first need to do before thinking even of looking for our significant other. Then let's heal and recover the love we should be sharing between our siblings, our brothers and sisters. Let us grow with them together. Take care of our sisters. Take care of our brothers. See them from the eyes of our parent, right? Not from our own eyes. They may not be smart. They may not be doing what we like, but they are my brother. They are my sister. They are who my parents love. My parents love them, so let me also love them also as they do. You know, let us keep that pure heart in this stage and not engage in any love that is not meant to be in this stage. You know, if we look at each other and think, oh, you know, this person, or he's not clever, or this person is handsome and he's better than, you know, if we are at the stage of sibling love, we shouldn't really be focusing there yet. We should be looking from our parents' point of view. Okay, how does my parent love this person? Why is he important to my parent? Let's look from heavenly parents' right perspective. And then that's when you start seeing the value of that person, not because of their looks, not because of how intelligent they are, but you really start to see who they are and what value they have in regards to your parent. And therefore you start to respect that and even come to love that. So when perhaps you get matched to each other, if you will actually feel, wow, this is the greatest love I can have, instead of look at the external issues, which maybe you think, oh, they shouldn't be there because, you know, I can't love this person if they don't have this or don't have that. But actually, if you look from God's perspective, they are there, you know, as God's child, and therefore as you can love, you know, you can, that's where I'm really important in understanding first also our parents' perspective, and then also looking at each other as brothers and sisters and not engaging in that kind of form of relationship of, you know, impure relationship, especially sexual relationship, before really having that preparation of sharing with each other with a pure heart. You know, so for this stage, you know, training, you know, for this stages, training, this stage of loving our brothers and sisters is training us for love with our partner, actually, for life. So if we wait and learn to practice pure love between brothers and sisters, it will be a well-prepared love to eventually give this love to our husband and wife. But if we do not wait, it will not be complete love that we are desiring. And therefore, it will not be complete love that we can also give to our children for their happiness. Yeah. So only by doing this, of really loving each other purely, can conjugal love, the juicy love, right, that we're looking for and yearning for, can truly be real and complete, because it will be completed and connected to the source of love, and that is our heavenly parent, right? So I want to finish now with a slide of True Parents' quote, which mentions this: the ideal of creation is the ideal of loving family. In that family, there is oneness between God and his son and daughter, Adam and Eve. And when Adam and Eve become parents, there is oneness between them and their children. all centered on God's love. Therefore, in the ideal world of creation, first of all, there should be God. Then there should be true sons and daughters who are centered on God's love. Next, there should be true husbands and wives. Finally, there should emerge true parents who bear true sons and daughters. We need to recover all these different types of love relationships in order to enter the ideal world of creation. Otherwise, we cannot enter there. We ought to be born amid God's love, perfect ourselves amid God's love, and become husband and wife amid God's love. After that, we ought to have sons and daughters amid God's love. So as highlighted, I want to show that actually we who are born from the right school of love, right? Because our parents connected to our true parents and they are teaching us from the right school of love. We also were meant to then start living, as the quote puts it, amongst and amidst God's love. We also were meant to perfect ourselves amidst God's love. We were also meant to become husband and wife amidst God's love. And also we were meant and are to have sons and daughters amidst God's love. However, I have to say that although our parents connected us to God's love and gave birth to us, right, and hence why we have God's lineage, we have not been able to truly perfect ourselves amid God's love. As our parents, even though they are trying to help us do so, this environment is pulling us in the opposite direction. As a result, this has caused us to not truly know how to feel true love at times. And so we have not had the complete love that we should have had growing up. So that is our situation still, I have to admit. However, even though things have not been perfect in our own family, in our own community, even though we know the truth, let us not let that deter us from doing the right thing and keep the cycle going. And let us become husband and wife, at least, amidst God's love. Let's have the blessing. And then let us have sons and daughters with God's love. Let's bear blessed children and continue the lineage. We cannot change the past, right? We cannot change how we grew up. Maybe things were still missing in our own families, but we can change how we create the future family. And it is also up to us to break the cycle of not having complete love that God intended for us to have passed down from our first human ancestors. So let us make sure at least our descendants, right, can get the complete package that is real and not interfered by this fallen environment. Lastly, I want to finish with my message I feel God wants to share with you. I asked God in prayer yesterday, what do you want to share to your children today through me? And this is what I got. I don't know if you feel if it is from God or not, but this is what I got. And yeah, I want to share it. And I feel like it's something, yeah, that is quite precious to me because when I was reading it myself, I really felt this is something, even myself, I felt God wanted to share with me. So let me read it, and this will be the end of my sharing. My feeling, what do you want to share with your children tomorrow? This was my question, and this was the answer. I want to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you were meant to be born amidst my love, but you are not. I want to say sorry. You were meant to have the right environment to perfect yourself amidst my love, but you were not. I'm sorry that you were meant to feel confident to find your ideal match and become husband and wife amidst my love, but you were not. I'm sorry that still, despite sharing the ideal, we are not able to truly live it yet. Your parents are trying, the community is trying, but we are not quite there yet. So I'm sorry, as I know it has caused a lot of pain, frustration, judgment, when you were meant to feel joy, harmony, and love. I know you are all doing your best despite this not ideal environment. And I know with your help, we can make things better. So what I want to say is let us keep going to do our best, despite the limitations. Let us realize we were first and foremost born with my love. And even though the environment has not been perfect to raise you in my love, and even you may feel like you are just the same as everyone else, reality is you are not. Your lineage is directly from me, and that will never change. You may leave, You may fall away. You may feel you are no longer my child, but you are. And that bond will never change. So please let me still be in your life. Let me still be part of the relationship of love between you and your spouse through the blessing. And let us come to create the environment where your children will be born from, who will be born from you, will grow amidst my love, perfect themselves amidst my love, find their true ideal match amidst my love, and hence continue the cycle of having sons and daughters amidst my love. Only you can break that cycle and start living the way we were meant to live, and hence bring the true joy and happiness to each other and our descendants to come. Only you can bring that joy I'm still longing to experience, where all my children are happy and living amidst my love as I originally intended. Only you have that ability, because only you can complete me. I truly, truly love you all. So that's what I wanted to share with you, my brothers and sisters. That's what I felt God, our Heavenly Parent, wants to share with us. I think things are not perfect yet, even though we are born knowing the ideal and what is true and what should be true. But I feel the only way we're going to make that happen is if we, as God's child, actually just keeps going to make that cycle where we learn from the right school of love, receive that love, receive the blessing to be able to bring God into our life, and then create a family where God can truly also give love to God's children, which we create, which He gave us the ability to create, and therefore continue the cycle of that beautiful love. So my brothers and sisters, this is my sharing today. I hope it has made some sense to you all. This is me and my husband. We are still growing in love, still trying to understand it, but definitely see the great value that it has, because we've got God in it and He's given us so many blessings, and we are learning still from it. We still have challenges. I have to say, love is not like perfect, but it's definitely, needed for us to grow. And I've been telling people, like, sometimes it's good that it's not perfect, because when you struggle through it together, then you overcome. That's the great, joy that a victory that you can claim together. And you all know when you do victories after challenges, how great that is for you. It's like a moment in your life that you can share, right? And I think that's the same with our relationships. We grow, we keep growing, and eventually we perfect it. But the only way we can do it is with God, because that's where the source of love comes from. So again, thank you. I'll finish here, and I hope you've learned something. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our Regional Vice President. I know I'm MC, but after listening to this guidance, and especially this beautiful letter, I really have no words, because it was really something very deep and something very beautiful. So we are so grateful that you could convey this heart and this love that our Heavenly Parent has for all of us. So let's give another round of applause for our Regional Vice President. Thank you. So we received a lot of amazing guidance, but I couldn't forget that video. We want to see you and Yelin in that video. I did not forget. So I don't know if you're able to share it, if you still want to share it with us, but I believe, my brothers and sisters would like to see that. And actually, I can also see in the chat,
Okay.
somebody is asking for that letter, the letter that you wrote.
Oh, I see.
You can also share that. That's our gift.
Okay.
Very special gift.
Let me try and share then the screen and see if you can see this video. Okay. Look.
Who's that? Who's that? Is that a cutie girl? Isn't that a cutie girl? Boo. Is that a cutie girl? Boo. Is that cutie girl? Boo. Okay, sit yelling, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Yelin. Happy birthday to you. Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray! 2 months ahead of time, but anyway, yay! Yay! Hooray! Hooray! You're getting ready, yeah? Getting ready for your birthday in 2 months, yeah? Yay! Okay, quite long, I think, but anyway, there you go. That was the video.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that beautiful video. I feel like she's so adorable. I really wish I could meet her soon. And in that video, you can see that Mama is her whole world. Just looking at Mama makes her so happy. Yeah, so this was, I guess, the point of the guidance we received today, that the love that we receive from our parents paves the way for every other relationship in our lives. So this was my takeaway from your guidance, and I'm really so grateful. Yeah, so without further ado, now is the time for announcements. And I have only 2 announcements with me. And the first one is to all my brothers and sisters here, please send in your reflections right after this session. Yeah, so Kenta just sent the link. You can send all your reflections there, and let me also emphasize how important it is, especially for those who are interested in continuing the education program. After this 21 days, we are going to enter another phase, phase 2. And in order for you to be qualified to enter the second phase, you have to send your reflections. So the second announcement is we have a regional hundoke together as the whole region of Africa on Monday. So Monday at 4 a.m., please remind your parents and also remind to your brothers and sisters. Okay, so this is all I had for the announcements. And next, we're actually towards the end of our program, unfortunately, and we will be having our closing remarks. And for the closing remarks, please join me in welcoming our regional president.
Thank you, Mrs. Wantete, for giving me the floor once more. C'était très émouvant, très intéressant, très
It
profond.
was really touching, really profound, truly interesting.
La guidance de notre
The
vice-présidente.
guidance of our vice president.
Je voudrais une fois de plus que tout le
Once
monde
again, I would
reconnaisse
like for everyone to give her a big round of applause.
Reconnaître notre source, comme l'a dit.
To recognize our source, to know our origin. As she said, to put God at the center of everything is the most important thing that sometimes escapes us. And her guidance corresponds to, or should I say, is in line with some two instances that happened last week and even this afternoon. It was around parents matching. Last week it was about that, a child that was telling me the difficulties, the refusal of one of their parents who refused. I asked the question, on which basis? He or she is refusing. Did you have time to ask God without him answering, or was it through an internal guidance? What is the reason for refusal? And even today, and they said, no, I don't think that happened. And today also another came to me for the same. And I said, is it just because this or that person said something negative around that? Or what is God's place in all of this? What did God say? Did we take time to put God at the center of everything before deciding? And my conclusion was, after everything that happened, fear that you may have, you need you and your parents need to ask God, the Heavenly Parent, what is his point of view in all of this before deciding anything. And just what I was saying coincides with this profound guidance. And so, dear Blessed Central families, dear parents here present, dear children, before anything, God is the source of everything, and you need to go to him to ask him. And receive his answer. And when he answers, what you will take as decision will be influenced by him. But when you put God aside and you decide yourself, yes, maybe, then Satan will also give answers, very mouth-watering answers that sometimes will make us regret things afterwards. And it is time now, rather than regret afterwards, to just follow the guidance that we now have through the 3 generations. So thank you for coming. Thank you for following the guidance of our regional vice president. May it guide us, give us a new dimension of understanding our relationship with the Heavenly Parents and natural parents, especially in our relationship between brothers and sisters. Every day, God should be at the center of everything. Once again, may God and our true parents bless all blessed central families of Shin Africa. Those who are here and even those who are not, may they receive through their intuition of vibrations everything that we shared here, and may it bring Shin Africa to offer a pure offering for the next blessing. I say and I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much to our regional president for the words of encouragement, for reminding us how, before we make any decision, our Heavenly Parent needs to be the center. And thank you so much also for being with us and supporting us as our Papa, our dear Papa. We thank you so much and we love you. So next, my dear brothers and sisters, we'll be coming to the end of our program today. And now we will be having our greetings to Heavenly Parent and True Parents. So I would like to ask the tech team to display our True Parents picture. Okay. And together we are going to offer a half bow to Heavenly Parent and True Parents. Chonjin, Champumonimke, Hyombe, Paro. Let us give all the glory and honor to Heavenly Parent and True Parents. Okay, so now we have come to the end of our program. I would also like to ask the tech team to share the letter. So I could see some brothers and sisters were asking for the letter. So the tech team can also share that. And then, yes, of course, we're going to take a family picture. Okay, so let's prepare also for the family picture. Okay, everyone, let's open up our cameras and make your biggest smiles and the big heart, if you can manage to make the big heart. Okay, for those who cannot manage to make the big heart, you can still make the small heart. All the couples should make a big heart though. If you're together as a couple, please make a big, beautiful heart like Godson and Kana. Okay, so on the count of 3, we're going to say Sarangda. We're going to give back all the love because today we received a lot of love from Heavenly Parent, okay? So on the count of 3, 3, 2, 1, Sarangda. Okay, please keep your heart so that the tech team can take more pictures. We have like 3, 4, we have many slides, okay. Okay, please keep your heart and keep your smile as the tech team continues to take pictures. Beautiful, beautiful hearts. Wansu. Okay, okay, thank you everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Please do not miss again next Friday for the next session. Please don't forget your reflections and have a beautiful weekend. Thank you. Bye. Okay, so the letter has been sent. Please receive it. Please receive it in the chat. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. See you soon. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Refreshing.
Thank you. Yes.
Merci.
Thank you.
Obrigada.
Obrigado.